Hello everyone, myself Saha. I'm an assistant professor from the Department of Pharmaceutical Technology, JISU University. Today the subject I'm going to teach you and talk about it is Pharmacology 2 with the subject code BPT503, and today we'll be talking about the bioacid. In the last class I have spoken about the part 1 of bioacid, like I have spoken about the definition, like the bioacid is actually, the principles, the importance, and the several methods, types of bioassay and several methods to do the bioassay and the calculation of the dose I have spoken about. There we have studied the quantal bioassay, graded bioassay, different method like endpoint method, and bracketing and direct matching, and so on. And today we'll be talking about the rest part. So let's see what we have for today. So the observation calculation we'll be talking about. So this is the dose. See, for the standard dose we have kept 0.1. You can see the standard dose. The first one is twice, repeated twice, so just ignore that. So you can see the dose for the standard one and the response height, like you in the graph, the what is the height and the percentage response we have taken, and for the test also the same thing have been taken. Let's see. So maximum response is 3.5, considered 100% response, because the response percentage of response was maximum in the 3.5. So percentage response for 0.9 concentration. So concentration of standard by concentration of test. Sorry, dose of standard by dose of test into 100. The percentage response 25.71. So there is a percentage response and log dose, and this is a graph we can draw here. Other methods which are based on dose-response relationship include 3-point, 4-point, and 6-points method. In the 3-point method, the responses are repeated several times and the mean of each is taken. Thus, the chances of error minimize in this method. In 3-point assay method, two doses of standard and one doses of test are used. In a 4-point method, two doses of standard and two doses of test are used. In 6-point method, you can understand 3-point doses of standard and 3 doses of test are being used. So in these methods, what is happening that the number of test and number of standard are being increases, and it is increases, chances of errors are being minimizing. So similarly, one can design endpoint method as well. So there will be 4-point of standard, 4 doses of standard, and 4 doses of test. Next is the sequence. The sequence of response is followed by the Latin square method of randomization in order to avoid any bias. The mean responses are calculated and plotted against the log dose and amount of standard producing the same response, and produced by the test is determined graphically as well as mathematically. So here you can see concentration of unknown is equal to n1 by t, anti-log t minus s1 by s2 minus s1 into n2 by log n1 whole bracket cs. So n1 is lower standard dose, n2 is higher standard dose, t is the test dose, s1 is the response of n1, s2 is the response of n2, t is the response of test, cs is the concentration of the standard. So this is the formula through which you can calculate the concentration of unknown. So here you can see the bioassay of histamine by 3-point method. Similarly, in the 4-point method, as I mentioned earlier, that two doses of test, two doses of test and two doses of standard are being taken. So it is being said that in the 4-point method, the amount of standard producing the same response as produced by the test can be determined by the graphical method. It is determined mathematically as follows. There is a formula. I did not give it to you. That is where T1 is the T1, T2, small T1 is the lower dose of test, and small T2 is the higher dose of test, and capital T1 is the response of T1, and capital T2 is the response of T2. Method for bioassay of antagonist. So for the substance which stops any kind of action. So commonly used method for bioassay of antagonist is simple graphical method. The responses are determined in the form of percentage inhibition of the fixed dose of agonist. These are then plotted against so the response are determined that the the in percentage inhibition of the fixed dose of agonist. Agonist, whatever the response is being given by an agonist, how much amount or how much percentage you are being inhibited, that is being calculated here. These are then plotted against the log dose of antagonist, and the concentration of unknown is determined by finding out the amount of standard producing the same effect as produced by the test. In this method, two responses of the same dose of agonist, that is submaximal giving approximately 80% of the maximum response, are taken. The minimum dose of standard antagonist is added in the bath, and then bath means organ bath, and then response of the same dose of an agonist is taken in the presence of antagonist. The responses of antagonist, the responses of agonist being taken are repeated in every 10 minutes till recovery is obtained. Until the recovery obtained, the response of agonist, you have to like repeat. The higher dose of standard antagonist is added and the responses are taken as before. 3 to 4 doses of standard antagonist are used তারপরে একটা হচ্ছে লকডাউন এবার sorry, 3 to 4 doses of the standard antagonist are used, and then 2 doses of test sample of antagonist is used similarly. So here the percentage inhibition is calculated, plotted against the log dose. As you can see here, it is plotted of antagonist, and the concentration of unknown is determined as usual from this graphical representation. So this is what about the 3-point, 4-point, and 6-point bioassay. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also do the 8-point bioassay where 4 dose of test will be there, 4 dose of standard will be there. How much, like if it is going increasing like 8-point, 10-point bioassay, so the amount of the errors will be less because you are taking the some doses in between, so that will help you to get the accurate result. But it takes a lot of time, so that's why we used to avoid. But if we have time, and if the if you have to do due to the protocol, then you will be doing. So I'm sure you understood, but if not, then I'll request you to start it from the previous day slide, because this is something you need to understand very well, otherwise you won't be able to keep it in your mind, because the subject is itself something that you cannot mug it up. Only you have to understand, then you have to keep all those information in your mind. So if there is any confusion, we can discuss in the doubt clearing classes, or you can tell me in the next class as well. Thank you so much.